Welcome inside the first episode, the inaugural episode, I believe is the English term for the Hard Work, Hustle, Humility podcast. We are officially your hosts, Ryan
and Danielle.
We're the Buckeyes. And this podcast is going to be a little bit different. We are filled in a world of a lot of negativity if you watch mass media news. And for us, we're a success story, I would say.
I would say so.
Based on what we start so far. And I feel like there's a lot of success stories out there that aren't just business related, that aren't just weight loss related, but the trials and tribulations that people, everyday human beings, have to go through to reach a point, a definition of success that they define as successful. Because I don't think success is defined as financial success all the time, or I got that job, or I bought that car, or that dream house. Success has many different definitions depending on who you speak to and what that definition is.
Well, I think it's a balance of many aspects in life, right? Like if you're missing one of the pillars that are essential to life, like then I wouldn't feel like you feel successful.
Correct.
So it's a balancing act.
I mean, we have people in our lives that are impacted by diseases, for example. And if you can overcome and go through, for example, cancer, chemotherapy, and you beat cancer and you're in remission, to me, that's success. And to that person, it's probably success as well. So we want to have a plethora of guests on this show that have different definitions of success, but have all gone through different trials and tribulations, have fallen down, have gotten back up, and have persevered in whatever journey path to their definition of success. And it's called Hard Work, Hustle, and Humility because it's the 3 H's that I have encompassed in my personal life and my professional life to be my own definition of success. And I believe through marriage, you kind of adapted some of those philosophies as well. And
yes.
And I know it's not the definition of humility or humble to be the first guests on your own podcast, but I thought we had a good story. I thought we have a really good inspirational story.
And I think a big part of what you're defining right now is to realize that there's multiple like journeys and like phases of that success, right? Like it isn't like just like one story that's going to get you to like that destination point.
No.
Right? Like there's going to be different phases, different points, different goals. And like no one person has like, this is my one success story. You know, like there's going to be multiple different phases of life, multiple, hopefully, success stories, right? And like, I don't think it's ever a destination. I think it's just like, I don't want to say what's next, but like, there's never a point where it's like, all right, now I've gotten here and I've had my success story and I'm done.
Right.
Right. Like it's characteristics, like the 3 that you just listed, right? Like you carry 3 characteristics or whatever it may be that carries you through that success story, but then translates to the next story.
Correct.
So
we thought we'd be good that we'd be the first guest and we bring in one of our dearest friends. And honestly, I got to open the podcast with just something that I need to say. And I've said this to you before and I'll say it again. This is Gerhard Herman. How do you pronounce your last name?
Herman.
I mean, Herman. Gerhard is one of the single biggest reasons why Fit Butters, our business, our nut butter business, ended up being what we define as success and being successful. Because when we had this idea in 2020, and not to steal your thunder, G, you stepped up big time. You were the first person in my life that I ever hired as a paid employee, but you were a family member way before that. And I took a risk hiring a full-time employee on my first business. I was trying to be an entrepreneur, and I took a risk, and it was the biggest, best payoff risk of my life. And when we started the business, I devoted much more of my time to trying to build this business, and you stepped up in a big way. You were there for me personally when I was going through some stuff in my personal life, and you've always been somebody that Danny and I both could call on, and if we needed something, you would be on the next flight to Minneapolis, and you would be here for us. And I can't thank you enough, and as much gratitude as I have for you as a human being, as a person, and it just makes me so happy to see how far you've come in your professional journey and your personal journey. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years of your life to see you finally obtain those black countertops that you've been trying to get your whole life. But I mean, honestly, so thank you for agreeing to do this, to ask the questions, hopefully some hard questions, some pressing questions, but from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure I'm going to echo your sentiments as well. Thank you very much for everything you've ever done for us.
I'm just happy to be here, man. That's really the honest.
We're happy to have you in our home.
Yeah, man. Who knew that me about to quit the supplement industry after I left SR? Like I was like, you know what? I'll never work in this space again. You know, I worked at GNC, Sprouts, SR for a bit while I had that other job. You know what? I got to leave it. You know, it's not,
You probably should have left it though. Let's be real.
I had to. I had no other choice. And then somehow I was like 5 minutes later, I have a job offer from Ryan.
Well, here we are. 5 years. I
here.
mean, more than 5 years. I mean, we've known each other now for 7,
2019?
yeah.
2019?
Almost 7
years? Almost 7 years.
Well, cool. I know you did your homework. You prepped a little bit. A lot of this can be ad lib.
My
A lot of
homework's
it's me.
just thinking, oh, that one time Ryan did this. That
Yeah,
one time Ryan
there's
did that.
things that we can't talk about in the podcast too, right? Like,
Well, hopefully I get those out of you too.
Yeah,
So
well.
I'm the official guest host for you guys today. This is the only second or third podcast I've actually ever hosted.
Well, it's a job interview. Maybe this is your next success story.
As you were talking, I was actually thinking, like, dude, people's job is to just come and listen to themselves talk.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
That's
And they make big
It
bucks
is.
doing it. They make a lot of money doing
A lot
it.
of people make
for
big
sure.
bucks. Not just Joe Rogan, all the thousands of other podcasts.
Yeah,
out
Rogan's
there.
great though.
Oh my gosh, I love listening to his podcast.
So, yeah, I mean, so I have a set of about roughly 10 questions here. We'll probably have some as we go on, but I know you two know how to, when you answer, you know how to ramble, which is good for podcasts. So,
Yeah.
So ramble as much as you
all
can.
right.
That's
We
my,
like to hear ourselves
that's what I
talk.
want.
Yeah, I mean,
I want you guys to ramble as much as you can.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, first one, I got a whole list. Made these in bed last night.
That's what you were doing in bed last night?
Totally.
Well, that's not success.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry, Jamie. Anyway, so man, it's been 5 years since you started Fit Butters, your baby. You
Yeah.
know? Or your second baby, I guess. Anyway, and it's been just 5 days for me here. You guys are a crazy busy couple. Is that an everyday experience?
You get a chance to watch me work from a distance.
From a distance, right next to you.
I mean, I think busy for both of us it's two different things, but in one and the same. I am extremely blessed for me personally that I met Danielle when I did at a point in my life, and she compliments me extremely well. Yes, we butt heads, and we will always do that because we're wired in the same way. But without a partner like Danielle, both in the business and in life, I wouldn't be able to be as busy as I am and be able to do the things that I do because I'm very good at juggling. I would say I can go from one thing to the next I do it regularly every single day.
When you're driving.
But like, for example, I mean,
Safely.
the biggest thing in life, I mean, we have 3 kids, and so like we have a home and 3 kids. And right now we're in the process of moving. And so my wife steps up in a way in which I can't put words to describe how important it is for me to be able to grow the actual core business, because whether it's swim lessons last night or taking the kids to music lessons or making sure they have breakfast on the table. Yes, she is a massive part in the business and she continues to be, and she always will be. But even more so than that, at times it's the things that she does that's not on the P&L that people don't see that allow me to then go out and take meetings and travel. And I have to sacrifice a lot of time with my family, as do you.
I was gonna say
do you.
I'm along with a lot of those traveling businesses, and like I personally wish I could be home with the kids, but I also know that's essential for me to come along for the business, and so it's a balancing act. I would say, as it comes to the busyness and answering your question, that is very much so what we live all the time. Like what you have seen is actually like probably not as busy as it is sometimes. And I think for me, like I have lots of people that look at me and they're just like, how do you live with, they call him Buckeye or Ryan, or how do you keep up with him? And I'm just like, honestly, I feel like I'm running nonstop. It's go, go, go. When we do have a free moment, Ryan finds a way to fill it. And I mean,
You do too.
I mean, to an extent,
Kids activities and things.
Oh yeah. Yes, for sure. Like trying to be as busy as we are in business. Ryan always loves to add projects to our list, which is totally okay. The one thing I absolutely love about Ryan is when he says he has a project that he wants to get done or something needs to get done, it's not tomorrow, next week, next month. It's here and now. Like,
very
and
impatient,
there are
but in a good
very,
way.
Oh, I'm extremely impatient.
And that can be obviously detrimental in some ways, but also an amazing feature and a business owner and a husband. Like most of my friends, they'll be like, I have to nag my husband to do something over and over again. I'm like, oh no, I asked Ryan to do something and it's done yesterday. Like it's a great quality, but it does also add to the busyness, right? Like it definitely makes things feel much more urgent at all times.
Yeah.
I would say our cortisol levels are probably through the roof all the time because of that feature. But with that being said, I am eternally grateful for the fact that Ryan's personality is like that. And I definitely always thought I was a go busy person until I met Ryan.
Well, you are. I mean, you definitely are.
Extent.
It's
not to your level.
No, but I'm fucking crazy. I mean, the thing is, like, and I know that. And the thing is, like, I mean, any issues that we have in our personal life and marriage stem from the differences in terms of hyperspeed versus slow down. Typically, it's like, you know, I'm always hyperspeed, like, and I want to capitalize and capture the moment when I can, because you know too, like, something can come and pass you by very quickly. And so, for example, like Fit Butters, I mean, when the idea came, and we'll probably talk about this, I mean, we were in business 10 days later. It was just like go, because during that time of uncertainty during COVID, it was like, all right, we got this idea. We needed money, because, you know, on the Fitness Informant platform, which is a digital media platform providing content around dietary supplements.
There's a ceiling there, guys.
There's a ceiling, and there's also a cash flow issue with brands that didn't know how to manage their checkbooks, or they just weren't having cash coming in because gyms are closing down. And so therefore we were at the short end of the stick. I had my back against, so I had to pay you. I had to pay myself. We had to make ends meet. Like, you were fine because you were a nurse. Obviously you were in demand, but even they were also cutting your shifts too. And so
that was simply because my floor wasn't allowed to have COVID.
But still, yes, right? Like we needed to figure out a way to make money. And so it's like, how do we provide content to our partners, even though they weren't paying us? Like, I felt the obligation, because we signed a contract that you said you were going to do this, and I said I was going to do that. And I'm going to do that. Regardless if you pay me or not, I am going to fulfill my obligations as a partner of your business through Fitness Informant. And I will find a way to make sure G gets paid. I will find a way that our bills get paid. And in that process, obviously one thing led to another. But I know we're, again, rambling on about the initial question.
That's good.
But yes, every day, that's the great thing about entrepreneurship, I think, though, for me, like, every day's different. You know, I wake up and it's like, okay, get the kids ready for breakfast while I'm firing off purchase orders and receiving purchase orders. And then I got to go in the Illustrator and design our new single serve packet labels, and, you know, talk to Kraft about our upcoming partnership. I mean, there's every day it's different. And that's what makes it awesome. Because in corporate America, when I was there, every day was the same. Everybody would get to the office, they'd get their coffee, they'd sit down, they'd check their emails, and then you're at your first meeting, and then your second meeting, and then you have a meeting about the meeting. And you're just like, where is my time going? And it's not that it's a bad thing. I think there are a lot of people cut and designed for corporate America. And we need that to let the world go around. I was good at corporate America, but I'm not designed to be a suit and tie. Like, I'm not. Like, I'm
you can't even fit in a suit and tie.
No, I mean, yeah, unless it's custom tailored, right? But I mean, and just like, and then Danny's completely different, because she doesn't come from this world. I mean, she's a nurse. She's a caregiver. She is somebody who can sympathize and empathize with everybody under the sun. I can, to an extent, but I lack patience.
You're a very impatient person. You're probably the most impatient person I know.
Right. And so for me personally, yes, every single day is a sprint. It's a marathon, right? They always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Well, it's a marathon in which I'm sprinting, if that makes sense. Like,
that's a good way to put it. I like that.
You got 26. You got 26.2 miles to go. I am running as fast as I can that entire way until I get to the finish line. And that's, I mean, and I know there are a lot of moments in my life that have come and passed me by that I've capitalized on in terms of that's a success, check, what's next? And I have never taken an opportunity to sit back and be like, holy shit, you know, we just launched into 1,300 Walmart stores, or Vitamin Shop, 728 stores, or whatever it was. Like, it's like, great, now what? And that's, to me, I'm going to look back at that, and I think someday and be like, damn it, Ryan, like, you should have taken a second.
It's funny because he says this every time we talk about it.
I just don't do it.
But you never change it. Like, for me, I think that's one thing I've been trying to be more aware of, especially with the kids, is like, this is our last moment where they're this age, right? And like, I've been trying to be more aware. I've been putting my phone away when we're at home with the kids. Because I think even our kids, like, we got our old laptops out when we were cleaning out the house, and the kids want to sit at their laptops and play and work like mommy and daddy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we doing wrong that our kids see when we're home? All mommy and daddy do are work and be on their phones and be on their laptops. And I think that's a big problem. And so I've been more intentional on trying to be more present in this moment. And I think we've talked about it, right? I've been trying to get Ryan to be more present at home with family and stuff. And it's something that doesn't come naturally, right? And that's very hard for him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one thing that yes, I think there is capitalizing on the moment and like the situation and making sure you're not passing things by. But I do think there is something to be said about trying to be intentional on appreciating the current moment and like something that really needs to be done.
Yeah, and I think you're right. You're absolutely right. And then, being devil's advocate to that would be like, would we be in the position we are today with the business if I hadn't? And I don't know. We don't know, right? And so like all we know is the steps and the processes that we've both have taken individually and collectively together to get to at least this business to where it's at. But I mean, if I took a step back and looked at my life and the shit that I went through as a kid and middle age and going through divorce and you going through divorce and then us coming together and like looking back at where we are now, I would say we've done pretty well for ourselves. And I, especially recently with us purchasing a new home, and I sat my kids down and kind of said like, hey, this stuff doesn't get handed to you. Like I slept on a couch at the age of 15. That was my bedroom, And so for me, it's like, holy, like I'm buying this house with my wife and we're moving our family to this dream place that we have always talked about. And now we're in a position that we can do it. And it's like, and then you look back and you're like, we did that through hard work, hustle, humility. And I don't know. I mean, I cried with my kids, teared up a bit because I was just like, they will never understand. And that's a good thing.
We don't want them to.
The struggle that, I specifically went through. And
you went through a lot more than me. Like I lived a very basic, simple life. I lived on a farm.
You do need struggle though.
But
yeah, you definitely need struggle.
I think struggle is what drives you to be the way you are.
Well, struggle drove you too, like, right? Going through your divorce, me going through my divorce, like that was a big struggle for us both personally and then emotionally. and it's just, I don't think you can truly be successful without failures and struggles. Like it's just, you gotta taste rock bottom sometimes, man. And like, I know like you personally have gone to rock bottom before too, right? Like, I mean,
I've had my issues.
So it's like, those are very key moments in a person's life.
It drives where you go next, right? Yeah. Like that's the big thing. If everything was smooth sailing, you would stay on that same plateau.
And that's okay.
Moment,
some people do that.
So and that's totally fine. But I think what drives those like crazy success stories is when you do hit a rock bottom moment.
Well, that's a make or break moment, right? Like COVID, for example. That was a moment. It's either you pivot or you die.
You adapt or die.
Yeah, you adapt.
Evolution. At its finest. All right. Well, that was a good rant there. I had a few questions like, if they stop right now, I'll ask that. But then I forgot them already.
All right. Well,
so I got a whole list here. Thank God. See, this is why I have a list. All right. So like you guys said, you guys don't really appreciate the moment as often as you like. So we're here to do that. First off, I'm going to ask, do we really need to go over Fit Butters and the history behind it, how you started it? Do you want to get that out of the way?
I mean, we can touch on it. I think it is motivational, especially if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you're trying to create an emerging brand, whether it's CPG or whatever. I mean, I get a lot of people that reach out to me for advice and consultation, and I try my best to provide that. The one thing that I never want to do is like shit on somebody's dream, because every good business starts with an idea. Some are good, some are bad.
You've experienced it
right?
too.
And some ideas that I think are bad end up being fantastic. You look at some of the products out there that are like, that'll never work. And it works.
Any examples of that?
I mean, half the stuff I see on the store shelves sometimes, like, how in the world is that like a thing?
Who's buying that?
Right? But they obviously are, or there's interest behind it. But for us, it was, again, kind of going back to COVID. We had to pivot and figure out like how are we going to create passive income through the creation of content, the world that we live in, and recipe content specifically to providing healthier nutrition. We created the nut butter, and we literally Pinterest the recipe. We went to the grocery store across the street. They already had pre-weighed out portions of raw nuts. So we bought cashews and we bought almonds. We came back, and I showed Jamie this the other night. The baking sheet that we use, we still have today in our house. We put it on the baking sheet. We baked it for 15, 20 minutes. I don't remember what it was. We grind it up in a 4-cup food processor, which is up over here somewhere. It's actually in the fridge. And we added in coconut oil, and we added in a scoop of whey protein isolate from a brand that we were working with on our Fitness Informed platform called Primeval Labs. It was a vanilla. And then we topped it with a little bit of unsweetened coconut, and we tried it. And I am not a consumer at that point in my life of what I still call bougie nut butter. Like, I wasn't going to spend $15 on a jar of nut butter.
It's definitely bougie.
And
me, on the other hand.
Yeah, she was buying the nuts and more.
I bought all the expensive ones. And I also was the girl, like, when my friends found out we started a nut butter company, they're like, oh yeah, Danny loved peanut butter. Like, that totally makes sense. Like, I've always loved nut butters, peanut butters, like they were like a huge, like they were my treat. So even without being the treat, without the cheat, like the flavored ones we have, peanut butter by itself was just my treat.
And so we made it. She tried it. She's like, I love it. I tried it. And I've tried the stuff that was in the pantry. And it's funny because at this time, other brands were sending us stuff for content. American Dream, Hanks, Nuts and More, and all great brands that we respect. And actually, we made a post about how they paved the way. But I knew, like, when I tried ours, I was like, ours is better than theirs. And for me personally, like, I personally liked it better. I liked the texture, the flavoring. I liked the health benefits of it. And my background prior to doing Fitness Informant is I ran a brand called Cascadian Farm, which is under General Mills. And so Annie's Cascadian Farm is a natural organic brand. I helped turn that brand around. It was a $140 million P&L. I led up innovation, frozen, across the board. And so I was like, I think we got something here. I've always wanted a physical product on the shelves. And I think everybody was like, you're going to create a supplement brand because that's the space that we were in.
I was going to say, you had like renders and ideas for
and I
still have the tub.
I still have the tub. But I mean, you know, even before that, rewind, like 6 years old, I'm going to the local Quick Trip. I'm buying a sack of the caramel apple suckers. I don't know if you guys remember them. And like these things are like $1.79. And I go to school and I'd sell them for a quarter each. And so like I'm already slinging stuff at 6 years old. I'm trading sports cards, trying to get the best deal I can get to accumulate all the Shaquille O'Neal cards I can. So I've always been like wired, like I want to be in business. For senior year of high school, they came out with a senior t-shirt. I'm like, that sucks. I designed my own. I sold, everybody of our senior class bought my t-shirt and only 2 people bought the school's t-shirt. Like that, those are things that I did because I wanted a physical product. And so when that happened, I was like, I think this could be it. Literally, she went to bed. She had a 12-hour shift the next day. I stayed up all night. I'm searching USPTO website. How do I incorporate Fitness Informant into this new thing? Because I need Fitness Informant to help launch it. And Fit Butters was available. Trademarked it. Literally designed the logo. Was going to hire a guy to design the labels. Didn't like the labels. Taught myself Adobe Illustrator. I designed the labels. Taught myself Shopify. I designed the Shopify store. 10 days later, basically, we were up and we made the announcement on April 2nd of 2020, a National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, that, hey, we're launching a nut butter company. Our first sale came on April 5th. Like, we literally spent the next day developing all the flavors. And then we started shipping and making it like April 10th or something like that. But it was just like, again, going back to how we started this podcast, it was a sprint. And we sprinted as fast as we could, like literally.
Very impatient to start a brand.
Yeah, impatient. And then I was impatient for everything. But
it's also the thought, like, we weren't out there searching for an idea for a brand to start, right? Like, I think a lot of brands out there are like, or business owners are like, okay, I want to start a brand. I want to start a company. What do we want to make? And like, they're searching their brain for something to make, innovate, like whatever. Instead, we did like the reverse way, right?
Accident.
Like
100%
complete accident. And I think that's kind of what makes us great is like, we kind of stumbled upon this and your brain instantly gears started running, being like, I can sell this. And you ran with it.
That quote stuck with me. I can sell this. And then you start a business.
Always.
Yep.
Yep.
And so that's the start. And then it was just, I mean, the nice thing though too, right? Because having Fitness Informant at that point, we were 4 or 5 years in on FI. I knew retailers. I worked with brands. You know, we had a point of trust with our consumer base. Then they supported and they bought and they bought and they bought and they supported. And then one thing led to another. And, you know, we had a lot of failures along the way. We figured them out because failure wasn't going to be an option. Like ultimate failure was not an option for this business. And, you know, 5 years later, we're the fastest growing nut butter company in the country, which is really crazy to say and hear me say it. And we are going to continue to keep doing what we do. And I think that's what makes us great too, to Danny's point, is like all of our core values that we established very early on, family, authenticity, transparency, and quality, we've maintained that throughout. And specifically, you know, you look at transparency and how important that was to the growth of Fit Butters. Like we wanted to be a food brand that was let's be the Chipotle of food. Like let's pull back the curtain and let's make the food in front of you. Let's show you how these things are made. When we mess up, let's show what we did to rectify that situation. Let's show Danny playing with the kids. Like when you invest or buy Fit Butters, you're supporting a real family. You're not supporting corporate America. You're not supporting, you know, and again, there's nothing wrong with supporting corporate America at all. But we approached it the same way we approached Fitness Informant. Let's be 100% transparent. Let's be honest. Let's be real. And let's be us. And us translated into adaptation and purchase behavior and a whole family that we call the Fit family, which is why we are what we are today.
You touched on some of the struggles as you were ranting there. So this actually ties perfect with this next question that I had written down. So I'm sure there's been a lot of fires, right? You've
Yeah.
put out.
Every day.
Are there any they could speak of, and which one is the most memorable?
I mean, I think the production fire to begin with was the one that was like a make or break moment for us, where the Ninja blenders all died.
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
the first day. I mean, definitely, right? Like we had to pivot multiple times trying to figure out how we were going to create the nut butter that we essentially made in the kitchen, right? Like you can have a great idea that you make in
Very small
the
batch.
kitchen, yeah, like for yourself at home, right? Like I think a lot of people, especially in food, they're like, okay, like I make a really good sauce or barbecue sauce or whatever it may be. I actually had a friend reach out to me. She worked at a restaurant and the owner wants to start selling the barbecue sauce that they have in their restaurant, right? And they did a co-packer and they ended up tasting nothing like, even with the same recipe, like the stuff they make in the restaurant. That's because when you try to scale it and make it somewhere else and in a different way, same recipe or not, it can taste completely
It's
different.
not going to mix the same. Like
Yeah.
this actually.
Yes, like grinding down, whatever it may be, right?
happens with supplement
and
space
so,
too.
yeah, exactly. And so you can have a trial idea where you're making it like one at a time in the kitchen, whatever it may be, and then trying to scale that every time we've had to scale to be larger has been a big pivotal moment for us. And that I would say probably is one of our biggest fires in general that we've had to put out is like, all right, now we've figured out how we're going to make it at this scale. Well, now we have more to make, more efficiencies that we have to meet. How are we going to do that? Right. And it's always been like another hurdle to jump.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, I mean, other fires are just like, hey, we don't have this ingredient. We don't have that ingredient. I mean, it's all part of scaling a business and
Or
demand
this thing
planning.
is broken,
Yeah.
or this isn't working, so we can't make the production we need today for the order that's going out tomorrow, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I would say like all things considered, G, we've been pretty lucky, very lucky. I don't have a manufacturing brain. I have a marketing and sales brain. Danny's got a background in nursing. Like neither one of us know a lot. Like obviously General Mills, I had the right contacts and I leaned on them. And I think that's things that people need to do too, is like look at your network of people. And you have to, your network of people can be, good and bad, because going back to Danny's idea about a barbecue sauce, right? Like you could have 10 friends say, this is great. You should make this as be a business. But then you get outside your circle of friends and maybe nobody thinks it's great, And so like, you have to look at the broader picture of things too and be like, what is the opportunity size here for what we're trying to create? And like, will people actually consume this outside of our friends and family because they feel like they need to support us?
You need very honest friends with that said. That's
Yeah.
something that's very important. People who are actually going to give you real, honest, legit
Feedback.
feedback.
Yeah, and I'd say, I mean, not necessarily a fire, but I guess it is a fire, but being like honest and transparent, like this business has taken an absolute toll on our marriage. Like, I mean, it has been very demanding from our time constraints with the kids, and we don't have enough time to connect as husband and wife.
And also just because you're pulled in so many different directions, we aren't present when we need to be present.
Right.
And like, I guess that comes down to like spending enough time together. But I would definitely say that, yes, our marriage, our family has definitely taken a big toll from the business.
And I don't think people talk about that enough, right? Like,
That's a normal
you talk
thing,
about
too.
fires, like that is the biggest burning fire. And we are constantly like, we've done couples therapy. Like how do we connect better at home because we work together, so it's like
We're together all the time, but we also have no quality time together.
right. And so like, but when we
Like,
spend time
it's
together,
strange.
it's like, oh, did you get TikTok done today? It's business related, right? And so like the
It's
difference
hard to
between
disconnect that.
if I was an entrepreneur and she was still a nurse, she could come home and tell me about her day at nursing. I could tell her about the day of business and two different things, but we are talking the same thing 24/7. And so that has been a huge fire internally for us that we've battled through, we literally as a couple, we hit rock bottom as a couple. We worked through it. We persevered. And that's another success story. I would say now, like, obviously we're very busy, but I think we've come out of it extremely, way more strong than
Obviously,
we were going into
still
it.
working on things.
Right.
That's a marriage in general. I think a lot of people assume because they see all these pretty pictures on social media of different couples.
You guys
that
are always in the jacuzzi?
Yeah, right.
yeah, exactly. I think people have it's always greener on the other side idea, right? And like people have this fantasy of like what a marriage is supposed to look like. Well, add being in business together on top of that.
right.
Like we definitely have went through a lot, and we don't show that for other people to see.
To be honest, I
obviously.
wouldn't want to see it. Please don't put that in your story.
Yeah, no, exactly. And people don't want to see that. People see a highlight reel of everyone's life in general. And
we
we
just want to
obviously,
see you happy, Danielle.
yeah, of course. I mean, we want to see everyone happy.
And she's always
Exactly.
smiling.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, I mean, marriage is hard, regardless if you're in business or not. Like, it takes time, it takes work, it takes commitment. Like, you literally have to make sure that you carve out time for one another. And now if you're working on the business together, trying to grow it super fast at hyper speed and growth, and you're wired the way I am, and you know, you're wired the way Danny is, it has been a struggle. It will continue to be a struggle here and there, but we just have to remember to ground ourselves in what's important, which is our 3 children and our first and foremost, our marriage, and then our 3 children. But I mean, I think, you know, the maturation process as human beings is just, it's crazy to think about how we mature as people. You know, from 18 to 22 to 26 to 31 to 38, like, there are constant leaps, and things in life that are important to you constantly change. Like when you're in your teens and your early 20s, it's money, right? Like, you're driven by money. You want as much money as you can. You want to get yourself out of debt. Then you have kids, and you think, hey, I want to be the best father. I want to be the best mother. And then, you know, in my case, like, I wanted to be that, but I probably wasn't that because I was being over here. And then, you know, what comes last, unfortunately, sometimes is I want to be the best husband. I want to be the best wife. And it's like you put everything else in front of your marriage first, and then you realize, like, without Danny, I am absolutely nothing, you know, and I would think without me, she would not be as happy, I hope. But, you know, but like, that's just something. I would be
lost. Yeah.
That is something that we have to have a constant, you know, we sat down, like, she planned the Valentine's Day, like, date night this year for us. And it was like the coolest thing ever because normally I'm the one doing the planning.
Ryan
like,
is a planner,
yeah.
And he always kind of is like 10 steps ahead of me. I always used to be the planner of like any other relationship I've ever been in. So like for him to take those reins, like I can never get ahead of what he already has planned. And that's just who he is. Like he's always doing things in the background, and also he'll tell me like, oh yeah, I've been talking to this person and we're going to do this like in a month. And I'm like, oh, okay. So like it was different because I stepped out of the box and was like, okay,
awesome.
I'm going to plan this.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yes.
But I think, yeah, I mean, there's obviously the fires on the business, but I think it's behind the business that people don't see. That's the biggest fire that continually burns, and you can trickle water on it to prevent it from spreading, but ultimately it's going to spread, you know? And so like, how do you stop that spread? And eventually how do you put it out? And I think there will always be some kind of fire there. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be like totally out until we potentially sell this business, but like, I think we're learning how to manage it better. And every day it's like, we just have to have a constant reminder with each other. Like it'll even be a text message, be like, hey, I'm going to watch American Idol tonight. Like, let's sit down for a half hour before bed, watch TV, and be together versus like getting the kids ready for this, getting the business ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is kind of not on the same topic. It is a totally different topic in a way, but how much attention can you actually dedicate to FI these days?
You know, it's funny because I mean, you kind of started about how busy I am, and I said I can juggle. I still do. I still do a lot of content on Fitness Informant. Actually, I mean, I probably do more now than I have in the last couple of years. I mean, your girlfriend can attest to this. Like, I send her a bunch of videos because she does her editing on FI. Like, I carve out days in the office. I'm like, hey, for the first like 4 hours on Wednesdays, I'm gonna film video. I still like this morning we woke up, I was writing an article for an April Fool's launch. And I still, I mean, very much enjoy that. I do have help. Obviously, I had you. Now I have Sean, which is extremely helpful. But I have my finger on the pulse of everything. You know, I went to the Arnold, and then, you know, at the Arnold, for example, I'm at the booth all day, and then I go to the Hyatt and hang out with brands at night and still put my FI hat on. It's exhausting, but
with that being said, I think the number one thing that people don't see or understand is like, they think, oh, let's own our own business because you can control your hours and you're going to work less and all of that. Like, Ryan is nonstop going, nonstop doing. Like, I don't think there is probably even like hardly an hour of the day that you really aren't working.
But that's on me too, though, because I'll sit down. But I'll sit down and I'll be like, you know, hey, I complain about this all the time, G. I'm like, God damn it, I wish I wasn't so busy. I'll sit down, throw on a Brewer game, and 10 minutes in, I'm like, I should be working.
We got to watch that later.
Yeah, I know.
I'll document it.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, then it's like
Jamie, have the camera ready. Let's document that.
When I'm sitting still, I feel like I'm not being productive, and that is an internal battle with myself. And that's me, and I need to work on that. And someday, hopefully,
you do.
That's why I don't think I can.
I need to work on being lazy. You don't hear that.
And that's
too
when
often.
I said like you fill your time.
Yeah,
like,
I just don't think I can retire.
If we're not busy, you find a way to fill it. Like, that's who you are. Like, what's a house project we can add to our list? What can we do here? Like, I'm going to run to the store and get this so we can fix this random little thing that we don't need done at this moment. But like, that's just who you are.
Yeah.
It's good to have, especially in your business. So, okay, now we go back to Fit Butters. I want a little,
I think he's
I don't know.
me.
This is more of a personal question, probably for both of you. What flavor are you most proud of?
Sorry, just wait a second.
Jesus, criminies.
This thing keeps falling on me. I'm like leaning over.
For me, I think there's two flavors that I'm most proud of. The first would be Monster Cookie, the initial iteration of Monster Cookie, because it kind of like put us on the map in terms of the flavoring system. It resonated with a lot of people. It quickly became our best seller. Now Cookie Dough is our best seller, which it's a great flavor too. But like the Monster Cookie was just like, that's who Fit Butters is. And then I think it goes without saying is being the small Minnesota-based brand to be able to partner with a large Minnesota-based brand in Post and Fruity and Cocoa Pebbles. It might not be your favorite flavor. It's not my favorite flavor, but what it provided for Fit Butters was legitimacy. You had a $7 billion company.
And brand awareness.
Right?
Yeah.
But like
It's my favorite cereal.
to have a $7 billion company trust you to put their IP on your jar in the food category that is the most risk, right? Like nut allergies is the number one allergy in the country when it comes to food. And for them to come through our facility and give us the check, yep, you're good. Here's Fred, here's Barney, here's the Pebbles collab. Let's roll with it on a 2-year deal plus. That says a lot about what we have built and what we've done.
So cool.
And since then, we've had Kraft come in and do the same thing. And so we have a license deal with Kraft coming out in a couple of months, depending on when this podcast release. And so now it's like, for a while you're trying to build your reputation and you're trying to like earn your respect amongst consumers. Well, now we earned our respect amongst our peers.
Our credibility.
Yeah. And so that to me was super big. Now, I don't know about you. I think I know your answer now for future flavors that we're coming out with that you're super proud of. And then I think it was completely driven by Danny, and I gave her all the credit in the world for it. But I'll let you answer it so I don't steal your thunder.
Yes, for sure. So that's actually one of my most proud moments is the fact that we're moving over to like the naturals line. Just because I personally only use like stevia and monk fruit really now. And so I'm really, really excited about our new naturals line coming out. And then honestly, like just the OG vanilla coconut is honestly like, I think one of the proudest ones because it really was the kickstart to Fit Butters.
You guys got rid of that one for a while, right?
Yeah, we brought it back for our 4th birthday.
And we brought it back during Christmas this year.
And we truthfully, like you look at our initial recipes to now, they really are very different because we used more like extracts and different things.
Oh, in the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, at the very beginning. So our vanilla coconut at the very beginning versus now tastes very different.
Right.
Especially now that we use our own proteins. And so the one now, honestly, is a lot better in my opinion. But that is one of my proudest ones.
So you guys have, speaking of like your first product now and to where you are now, so you've already made it quite far.
Yeah.
Right? So how far do you realistically think or want to take this?
It's funny because we were entertaining the idea of potentially exiting. When we started the company, I said this is a 3 to 5 year plan. Because I think if you're an entrepreneur and you don't build to sell, I think when you say something, if you don't admit that you're building to sell, and you're lying to yourself. Like everybody wants to build something to sell something to get on to the next thing. I wanted to build this to sell it, but I'm having a lot of fun. And that's the thing that's really hard for me to step back and be like, yeah, you could write me a check for $10 million and it could cover us for life, but then what am I going to do? Can't sit still, And so
take some of that, start something else.
I know I could start something else, but we're having so much fun on what we're doing. At least me personally, I'm having so much fun on what we're doing. It's like, what's next? Well, what's next are like our single serve sachets that are coming out. And that's just going into convenience stores and travel centers across the country, places like Casey's and Quick Trip, Road Ranger. Like you're gonna be able to go into gas stations and see Fit Butters for the very first time ever in 2025. You're gonna be able to go to the colleges and universities and you're gonna see Fit Butters in the bookstore. You're gonna be able to go to the airports and walk through and actually grab a single serve of Fit Butters. That's super exciting for me. And it's like, well, now I want to see this through, and then future collaborations that we have. I want to see that through. The naturals line. I want to see that through.
There's so many ways that we can expand to a different consumer base that I think we like. My background is nursing. I say that I miss it all the time just for the people connection. I love caring for people. There's like this reward in that in itself, different than what we're doing now. With that being said, the more I think about going back to that world versus where we are now, there are a lot of setbacks, right? Like there is something that's very cool about walking into a store and knowing that's your brand on the shelf. Like that is really cool. It's unique. It's different. There's a million nurses out there. There's obviously so much respect to the healthcare world because it's a very, very hard space to be in. With that being said, there's a lot fewer business owners are successful and doing great, right? And so there is a really cool aspect of like, we go to an event and I am talking to someone about our product and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this stuff. I found this, whatever. And they're telling me how much they love our product. And I look at them and I'm like, I'm the owner. And they're just like, what? And they freak out. And there is a really cool feeling to that. And so like, I am having a hard time imagining not being an owner of it now, right? Like there's something really cool about that. And so however long Ryan wants to stay on the train, I'm here for it. And so I think if there is a great moment where there's a great deal and we were to want to sell, cool. And I'm in and we'll find the next thing. Like I have passions in other areas that I would love. But also, like, this is fun, too. And this is really cool to be a part of. And so
we got to build obviously we have our blood family, but we got to build a broader family. Like, for example, sitting down there, she's on camera, but Alyssa, for example, started as an ambassador. And then she became our first full-time employee on the company. And, like, she's somebody that, like, we'll invite to the house for dinner and she'll watch our kids and, like, we would let her live with us. You know what I mean? Like, we built a family and a culture together of what we have here in our production facility, that I'm able to wake up every day and be like, what we've created is providing a living for 10, 12 people, which is a really cool thing to be able to say, like, what this little idea that stemmed from a 2-bedroom, 1,000 square foot apartment in Golden Valley, Minnesota, now provides a living wage for many people. And that's awesome. And that's the most rewarding thing for me is like that we're able to provide that platform. And it's just, it's kind of surreal, but like, going back, we do consumer facing events like the Arnold or the Olympia or, B2B events. And like this last Arnold, I saw people come up to Danny and want to take a picture with her. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and she's just like, I'm just Danny.
That's usually you.
That's usually me. And
I joked about that. I was like, are you sure you don't want my husband? Like, I'm not the one people want pictures
of. But it's cool
because I know it's your husband.
Because like when we first got together, like we met in the gym and like she used to go to the Arnold and she used to be the person taking the pictures with other people. Now people are taking pictures with her. And it's cool to see her embrace that. And then, anytime that she's kind of feeling down on the business, be like, man, I'm, like, maybe I don't feel like I'm contributing enough and I do miss healthcare. And then we'll do one of these events and she comes out of it just like reinvigorated. She's like, God, that was so awesome. Like
Every
these people and the amount of people who try our products and they love it. And like what we get to do every day is demanding as it is and how much time that we commit to it. It is so rewarding. And like, I also say too, like, hey, with 3 kids, if we want to leave at 2:00 in the afternoon to go pick them up from school and take them to Nickelodeon University or something, we can do that. We still have work to do, but like we can do that versus if you're, a 12-hour shift of a nurse, like you're stuck there from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. or whatever it was.
I would be there 6 a.m. basically until about 8 p.m. by the time I got out of there.
So, I mean, they always say like you leave a high-paying 40-hour-a-week job to go work for yourself, you work for less, and you work twice as much. And that is 100% true. Like for the first 4 years of this business, like Fitness Informant paid, at least for me, like paid my way of life. And you were still nursing until 2023 or whatever it was, 2022.
Or Charlie was one. So
yeah. I mean, but like we didn't take a salary from Fit Butters and barely anything at all. And so like we finally started sort of paying ourselves. We're not even paying ourselves like market value. Like if I went to work at General Mills right now, I'd be making 3 times what I pay myself. And that's okay because we make enough. Our life is good. We have flexibility. We have fun. And for, the general most part, like we're super happy. And I think you can't really put a price tag on that.
All right. I'm going to skip 2 questions because I'm going to go back to them. I think it's better because this ties into it. So you talked about selling, potential, all that. Let's say you were to sell. What? I know you can't sit down. I know you can't not be working. So what future business project would you want to get into?
Well, the conversation around selling is this. Like we would sell majority, but we would probably hang on to like 20% because I want to stay on still and see things through. And so therefore, we could get cash off the table, be rewarded for our hard work, make sure our family is taken care of, right? But I still get to do this every single day. I just collect a paycheck, and I still have a stake in the game. And then, in that case, the second time you sell, you make even more, right? Like if I kept 20% or Danny and I kept 20% and we sold again, at that point we had a strategic come in, invest a lot of money because a lot of money is not what we have. Like we are self-funded. So if we get a big, deep pocketbook and we're able to do more marketing activities and pay different slotting fees, which is another conversation, like maybe then we're $100 million company, whatever it is, you sell, and now your 20% is worth significantly more than the portion you had prior, right? But if I'm, for me personally, if I'm completely hands off of the business, at that point, I think I'm probably just going to consult, because I love business and I love entrepreneurs. I love hearing their stories, and people hit me up all the time. And like, I give advice for free because it's the right thing to do. But at some point, like if I sell fit butters, well, now I guess that's the ultimate success. Like, hey, I did it, been there, done that. Like, here's how I can help you scale your business, but you got to compensate me for it. Right. Like, and so I think, like I told Danny like a week ago, I'm like, I'll never not be on an airplane. I'm always gonna be kind of like, I mean, obviously you can do Zoom and Teams and things, but like I'm a firm believer in person. Yeah, like totally. That's what I like to do. And I still love to, like, for our retailer meetings, like when they're like, hey, you want in person or virtual? In person. I'll book the flight tomorrow, because
since day one, that's how he's been.
Calls yeah. I'd rather talk on the phone than have a video call.
I think COVID or the pandemic kind of jump-started almost everything to be Zoom.
Sure. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Because we survived, and so people are like, why were we paying for people to fly everywhere? But there is something different about being able to shake a hand, right? And like talk in person. Like that human connection, which is what I thrive in, is obviously always going to be way better than anything you can do on a screen.
And I think the other thing I want to do is, like, we would take some of the proceeds of what we do and invest in what Danny wants to do, because she's got some goals and aspirations that she wants to see through. And obviously me being wired the way I am in terms of building businesses is like I can do the back end stuff. Well, she handles, I'll let her talk about what she's passionate about, but while her and her people do that, I will make sure like we're profitable and then let you do your passion, because she's sacrificed a ton for me and for this business, because I've really been one kind of like driving it. Yes, she loves it and all that things, but like she sacrificed a shit ton for this. And so like I owe her a lot. And I've always told her, I'm like, that's the next thing. Like if that's what you want to do, like we will do it. I will help build the platform for you to go be successful. And I'll just manage back end shit. And you do what you got to do.
So what I see myself doing next, I love healthcare. I worked in cardiology, which was my huge passion. But as time has gone on, I really, really love functional medicine and the more like natural way. Like I could go on a huge rant about this, and I'm not going to go too deep into it. But I would love to go on, and I am currently doing my certification for functional medicine. But if I truly want to do a practice of it, which is what I would ultimately want to do, because nurses really can't do a lot in this space without being under a doctor, and those roles really are few and very, very limited. And so I would love to go back to school for a nurse practitioner and then have my own practice for functional medicine.
All right, that's good. All right, I got like 2 more here, technically 3, but all right. So I remember when you guys first started Fit Butters, you guys came out with that video announcing it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember specifically that night. We're going to go into doubters now. I remember specifically that night going on Discord. I'm not going to name them, but they said, hey, do you see that video, to each other? And I was in there. They knew I was in there. Like, yeah, that was really cringy, right? And, those were a lot of the people who are now supporters, right? Do you have a message to the early doubters?
Thank you. Honestly, like I'm driven by it. Obviously at that time, I mean, I was pissed off for multiple reasons. The biggest reason why I was so upset is because of Danny, to be completely honest with you. And I think I had this conversation with you. She is working 36 hours a week as a nurse. And on her off day, she's in the kitchen for 16 hours building this thing. And you have the nerve and the audacity to shit on this idea of that we're passionate about. And you're supposed to be my friend.
I think we're talking about 2 different people, by the way.
Well, I'm just saying in general, like in general, like that to me was a slap in the face for her. And we had just kind of like started our relationship. And I was like, that is so disrespectful to somebody who is literally helping people live through this weird time. And then on our off times when she should be resting and chilling, she's in the kitchen helping me do this. I can take whatever, dude. Like people have been talking stuff about me for the longest time. And then I've pretty thick skin about that now, but I was pissed about that. I think, what also kind of irritated me a bit is like, I thought you were supposed to be my friend, right? Like I thought we were boys. I thought we were, and it's like, okay, well then when I'm not there, and at this point, unfortunately for them, a podcast was on, and it caught them. It caught them talking about it, and then they didn't do their due diligence to go back through and edit the podcast. So all of a sudden the podcast gets posted. I get DM'd on Instagram, hey, you really should listen to this. And I listened to it, and I find out, who these 2 individuals are, and I literally called them both.
You called me after that too?
Yeah, I called them both and I said, dude, what, like, and I called them out on it. And, you know, whether you want to say to their credit or not, like they've apologized and they're, I think at this point they kind of like, wow, I can't really believe this worked.
They're actually
like,
good people,
right?
by the way.
Then they're great people. But it was one of those things. It's like, okay, you want to doubt me? That's cool. Like, let's fucking go. But I think that's a lot of people though. Like when somebody says you can't do something, it's like, all right, hold my beer. Or in our case, hold my jar of nut butter. Like, watch this. I don't know if you had many in your inner circle doubted. I think that they didn't understand it. Maybe like
I was just gonna say, I don't think even my parents understood.
I didn't either.
The degree that this, we didn't even know.
No, of course
we
we
were going to be.
Of course, we
right?
didn't.
I think
that's a cute farmer's market
I was
idea.
just gonna say, I think my mom, like, she shared it with all her friends.
Oh,
she
you're
was
selling on
proud.
Etsy. Wow.
That's so cool. I don't think anyone, even from my hometown, really understood where we were hoping to go or where we could go. Now I have people messaging me all the time, being like, oh my gosh, I just saw your Fit Butters in Florida. Oh my gosh, I just saw your Fit Butters on my grocery store in Pipestone, Minnesota. You know, like these tiny towns. And people I barely even knew in college, you know, DM me a picture of Fit Butters on their grocery store shelf in like Utah, you know, random places. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe you own this. And they're like super excited about it. I don't think people, when they first saw we were launching this, really, like, they're like, okay, this girl's a nurse. Like, what is she doing starting a business? Like, I don't think anyone took me serious. And in all means, like, I didn't necessarily think like we were going to get to where we are. I thought I was always going to do it as like a side hustle from nursing. So when we had like talked about me coming on full time, I was like, all right, this is really happening, you know? And like at that point, I think it was maybe people started taking it more seriously, and then it kind of went
that almost
up,
makes
up,
it
up,
sweeter,
up.
right? You didn't expect
yes.
it, and then like, wow,
for sure.
than I thought it would be.
I mean, you can shoot for the stars, right? And be like, hey, this could be a, you know, whatever brand. And we never had that conversation really in the beginning. We never sat down and say, what do we think this could be? I just knew, and you can say this is confidence, you can say it's cockiness, whatever you want to take it as. I just knew of the capabilities that I have personally to be able to build something. And like, I knew I could build it to be something. Now, I didn't know what that something was going to be at that point.
We never once talked about like, oh, this is going to be in grocery stores, or we never.
Well, we did because I priced it that way. Like we had a pricing model to make sure we could support grocery and expansion. But at the same time, that's my General Mills background. Like I knew how to, also it's an ag-based business. Like the price of nuts can go through the roof if there's a drought, you know, and obviously, you know, you guys have an olive farm, right? Like, or right?
parents have an olive
yeah. But I mean, same thing, right? Like, your price fluctuates based on the yield of the crop that year and et cetera. So like I knew that. So I was like, we have to price it accordingly. But I knew like I'm wired in a way that I can make anything work as long as I put the time and dedication into it. And I firmly believe in it. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you have to believe in what you're doing.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And you know this better than anybody, dude. I was all in. I was just like, this is going to work.
My response to those two people was, you know what? I don't understand it either, but knowing Ryan, I think it'll go well.
And
that's what I think everyone says.
I'm so proud about that to this day because I'm like the only one that I knew that wasn't like shitting on it.
And the thing is though, too, G, like I understand it. You know, that's the thing. Like it'd be different if I was like, God, why? I mean, like, was I upset? Was I hurt? Yeah, absolutely.
I also know you better than the others too.
Yeah, but I was like, I get it. Like, I mean, it's a random idea that came out of left field that I gave no indication that we were going to do this. It literally, you know, popped.
Hey, I'm doing food content. Oh,
I
by
mean,
the way,
we had no intention in doing
a week.
it. So
yeah, it was super quick, and so like I don't fault them for it. And it's funny because they're fans of the brand now. We're friends. We had our bro moment back then, and like it's all water under the bridge at this point. But at that time, it was like, all right, you dickheads, let's go. Like, we're going to do this. And they know this, and I love them to death, and I call and check in on them, and I'm happy for them, and they're very, and I think
but like in general, he's talking about everyone who's doubters, right? Not just like the one.
But I mean, like,
so,
and we still have them. And we still have them.
I was going to say, we still have, I was telling Ryan this the other day, like, I manage a lot of the TikTok, like, reviews and things like that, and they always, like, ding the ones you need to respond to that are negative. And so it's really easy for me because I see these negative comments all the time to kind of like focus in and be like, oh my gosh, everyone hates us. We're horrible. Like we're not going to be a success. And then all of a sudden, like I'll start scrolling through more of our reviews and see how many people really love us. Or we go to this event and we see how many people are like loyal customers and can't get enough of us and can't stop buying. And it's like a reminder being like, all right, there are always going to be haters no matter how amazing you are. And so like, focusing on those negative comments, those negative people, those negative haters, it's easy to do, right? Like, it's just like anyone, like you're in the spotlight, you're going to have that 10%, that whatever that maybe, or 5%, whatever it may be, that don't like you. But once again, they're the loudest, right? Like those are the ones you focus on versus the like hundreds, thousands, whatever that absolutely love you. They're not going to necessarily always comment. They're not always going to like leave you a review. They're not going to be the ones that say things. We just hear the ones that are negative more often.
How about the supporters then?
There's not enough words. I mean,
gosh.
there's not a way to, whether it's a retailer, a customer, friends, family, people like you, obviously your family, your friend, but you picked up the slack that I left behind on my other business to allow me to do this. It's just a simple thank you isn't enough, but I think it sums it up. You know, it's like the gratitude and appreciation that we personally have for anybody who's ever had a conversation, has purchased, has touched, has interacted with the brand in one way, shape, or form. Like, we're not here without you. And it's
we're
truly
truly blessed.
Yeah.
Like I know that's like the cliche way of saying it, but like we are so blessed to have so many people that continue to be loyal, love us, buy us, tell others about us. Like it's just been the craziest journey that we never could have expected, but like the building amount of people that just like continue to buy, continue to love us, continue to like go to the grocery store and find us. It's just been the coolest experience, and we wouldn't be here without that.
Yeah, I'm saying like I could work 24 hours a day, 365 a year, right? Doesn't mean anything without them. Means absolutely nothing without them. And so our life has been forever changed in multiple different ways. You know, we're blessed with 3 awesome children, just a life that we have maybe dreamed of that we're able to obtain. But again, like that is all contributed by the fact that we have people who legitimately love us and love the product and appreciation. It's just, it blows me away, dude. It really does.
All right. I was going to say, let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to add? Like, take the floor, the mic, I guess.
I mean, we kind of did it with that, the sum up thank you thing. But I mean, quite honestly, like I feel it's a privilege to be able to do this. You know, it's not a given right to be able to do this. It's a privilege to wake up every single day and breathe air. It's a privilege to wake up every day and be able to come to this office with my wife and Alyssa and our team, and create this product. But it's more than just a product. I mean, it really is a culture and a DNA that we're trying to establish.
Well, it's just the fact, like everyone, right, as we're inching near our 5-year mark, like how monumental it is to be a small business where we are 5 years in, with a trajectory, hopefully to continue to grow, continue to go. Like, it's just unreal. Like, it feels so surreal every single day. And we were just talking about how, like, you start kind of getting numb to seeing your stuff on the shelf or people coming up
I said
to
this
you
in my
and saying
interview.
it.
I kind of forget that you guys are there. Like, I walk past it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Ryan and Danny's brand, you know?
And for me, like, it doesn't feel numb. It doesn't, like, every single time I see it, I still feel like, is this real?
It's a pinch me.
Like, are we real? Yeah. Like, it hasn't faded at all. Like, it just doesn't feel like we're really here. And it feels surreal to think that, like, this nut butter is literally, like, what we do for a living. Like, there is nothing else. Like, that's our career, is a nut butter. Like, it's just so crazy to think, like, our kids, when they're friends or at school, they're like, what do your mommy and daddy do? Oh, they own a nut butter company. Like, it just feels crazy that is literally what our careers, what supports our family. You know, like, it doesn't feel real.
I think I will end it with this, and it's cliche to say it, but like I've heard it recently a lot lately, and I firmly believe it. If your dreams don't scare you, you're not dreaming big enough. Like, you should I'm a firm believer that you should start be comfortable being uncomfortable. Put yourself in situations that make you step outside your comfort zone, because that's where true growth and prosperity happen. Whether that's trying to grow a business or you as a person.
In the fitness world and your goals for weight loss, like everything, right? Like, if you want change, if you want success, you have to be okay being uncomfortable.
And that's a great thing too. It's like if you don't like something in your life, you want to change it, you want a different career, you want to, whatever it is, you have the legit ability to change it. You can sit around and talk about it. You can have conversations about it. You can do all those things. Actions. You can put words into actions and actually change it. Nobody's stopping you from that. We didn't have a lot of money starting Fit Butters. I took $5,000 from Fitness Informant, $5,000. And I started a brand now that does multiple millions of dollars a year in revenue, right? Like $5,000, which is a lot of money to some people. Totally get it. But like in the grand scheme of things, it really was nothing. But so, you know, if you want to change, or you don't like your current situation, or you're unhappy or whatever it is, like, my God, man, you get one of these, one shot at this thing. And there's no definitive endpoint. We don't know. I could wake up tomorrow and die, right? Like, I mean, nobody knows when their days are done. Like, so capitalize and capture every moment that you can in terms of things that you want to accomplish in life. Enjoy the moments. I need to take that advice for myself, going on. But like, man, and my mom used to always say this when I was a kid. It's like, if you believe in something, stand up for it and go for it. Like, nothing's impossible. And it is truly 100% factual. Like, nothing is impossible if you put your mind to it. You can literally do anything.
I think that's like the one thing I always think about. Like, you say that we're the same person, and we have a lot of the qualities that are very similar. Both of us came into our relationship. That's who we are, is like, don't just talk. Don't just say you want something to change. Don't just complain about something in your life. You need to have an action plan to make a change. And like, I've always lived that way. Like, if I don't like something, I change it. That is something that my friends have all known me as since I was like 18 years old. I saw myself in the mirror. I didn't like it. I changed it. I didn't like what career I was going to do. I made a plan to change it. Like, it was always like, if I don't like where I am, you have an action plan, you change it. Don't just speak to it. Don't just complain about it. And that's how you are wired as well.
And I think
so like, us being together on that, like, that's the one true, like, core, I guess, value that we both share is like, don't just talk about change, make it happen.
Yeah. And I think, on that note, and to end it here too, it's realize change isn't going to happen overnight. It requires habitual moments in your life, constant repetition. And so there's a book called Atomic Habits. I know Alyssa's reading it. I've read it. Like, it's the little changes that you make on an incremental basis that are eventually going to lead to the big change in what you're trying to accomplish, right? It's the 1% every single day being better, becoming better. Fit Butters was not a success overnight. It took 5 years, and we're still, to some people, maybe not a success, but it's the little wins. And focus on the little wins, move to the next one.
Over and over.
But habits form what you want. And so, like, that could be weight loss, that could be, whatever it may be. And so we're genuinely appreciative of you being here, doing this, devoting your time, generally appreciative of everybody listening to this podcast. We're excited to bring you more guests that have overcome things, trials and tribulations, those habits that we just talked about, instilling them in their everyday life to make a change, in which has made them their definition of success. So, my man, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you for having me. It's been a fun 5 days.
Boom. Let's go.
Let's go.
I haven't said that in a while.
Nope.
Yeah, right?